Savvy Central Radio, drawing out the best from our guest, with your host, Christina Nitchman.
If you are an American and concerned about your family's health and safety, you'll not want to miss Savvy Central Radio's live interview and film screening with Dr. Gregory A. Smith, MD, producer of American Addict 2, taking place this November 6th and 7th. American Addict 2 digs deeper into the world of corruption, politics, and pharmaceutical greed. Tickets are limited for this private viewing, live interview, and Q&A, so get your tickets today while they last at bit.ly/AmericanAddict2. This is your host, Christina Nitchman. Each week, Savvy runs weekly broadcasts providing entrepreneurs and successful individuals a platform to express their dreams, hopes, lessons learned, expertise, and wisdom with the world. Our guest today is Gregg Gonzales, licensed massage therapist. Gregg shares how the healing power of touch can transform all areas of your life. Gregg is the founder of Dos Manos Massage Studios. He prides himself on providing exceptional service to all by focusing on specific needs and making each visit customized and beneficial. His many years within massage therapy have provided him with a luxury of learning a wide variety of massages. To find out more about Gregg, visit his website at dosmanosmassage.com. Hi, Gregg. Welcome to Savvy Central Radio. How are ya?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad you can come and join us today. You have a very interesting story that has led you to the world of masseuse, being a masseuse and doing body work. How did this all come about for you?
So getting into this line of work for me was not kind of the normal path that I think people would take. I wanted to always do work that would help people in some form or another. And the majority of my career before getting into spa was in customer service, mainly in food and beverage, but also in hotels and resorts. And it was from working in hotels that I learned a tremendous amount about the spa industry. And it just became an area that interested me just more from the fact of the people that work there just seemed so serene and so in just a happy place all the time, because they work in a place where that's what you do. Your job is to make people feel good. So I thought, well, that seems like a cool job. And initially it was to get into management because that's what I was doing before. But the more I researched it, I found, well, I want to work with my hands. I want to do what they're doing. I don't want to just push papers all day and manage schedules and do bookworking. I wanted to actually do the work that makes people feel so amazing. So I researched massage schools, and this was in Arizona at the time. And I just became addicted. I actually, up to that point, had never had a massage in my life. So this was completely new territory for me. But as soon as school started, and I made the decision to go full time. I mean, I quit my job in management and decided to go to school. I got a serving position to put myself through massage school. I mean, it was a full year of just, highly intensive 5 days a week training. But I just found that it was a connection to work that was not only fulfilling, but I think just I was amazed that I might actually be good at this. And it was a skill that just really came kind of naturally to me. And it's one that I don't look at what I do as work. I think to me, having a job where you've got people that come to see you on a regular basis who look forward to seeing you, where, again, my job is strictly to make people feel better. To me, I can't ask for a better job.
That sounds fabulous. Wow. I know for myself, I only had my first massage. Was it 5 years ago? I got a gift to go and get some massage done. And I was like, after I had it done, I was like, I could do this weekly.
It's an eye-opening experience for most people who have never had it before, because I think people look at massage as, it's just one of those luxury services like getting a facial or, maybe not so much on the lines of getting your nails done or hair done, because I think most women would say, that's kind of an essential for them. But, getting a massage is, in most cases, something, once in a blue moon, like if I'm on vacation or I'm really, really, really stressed out. But I think what people find is when they come, they not only feel just the physical benefits of the massage, a neck ache, shoulder pain, low back issues, and how much better they feel. But I think there's something about when you give yourself that time to give back to yourself, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah. That in and of itself is nourishing and healthy for you and your body. And I just go into each massage with the mindset that I'm going to give this person the best 90 minutes of their day and hope that when they've left, they can carry on the rest of their day in a very positive mindset of, I've given back, I feel good, and I want to do the same for others, is kind of the way that I look at it. So I try to think of it as kind of like the pay it forward mindset. Mm-hmm. That if I do this for you, maybe you'll go and do good for others because of how great you feel.
That is a really great way to look at it. I know for me, I just came out of there thinking, wow, if I did this on a weekly basis for myself, I think it would be so tremendous for moving the lymphatic system, the and all that in the blood. And I think it would just technically really, really be healthy for me to do that along with, going to work out and eating right as well. But I just saw it as a really good health benefit as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much written that people can look up. You just Google benefits of massage and you can just read about it all day long to know what it does physically to yourself and how it helps with your digestive system, with your nervous system, with eliminating toxins. I say to people who, maybe suffer from chronic illnesses, whether it's, I'm constantly getting colds or I just feel lethargic or I feel, I can't get my metabolism going. I say, you need to go get regular massage work because your body internally may be just hitting roadblocks and some speed bumps. And massage can truly help eliminate that, or at least facilitate the movement inside your body to get things working properly again.
Those are some really valid points. And I know for me, I don't know anyone out there might have the same issues, but for me, I had some weird touch issues. Like it was very uncomfortable for people to touch me. And frankly, the odd thing is I didn't even really hug people outside my family until my mid-20s when I met some friends and they were all Spaniard and they're like kiss, kiss on both cheeks and stuff. I'm like, whoa, step back. But for me, touch was very uncomfortable. For my first massage that I had, I was really scared to walk in there and have a stranger touch me. Do you get that sometimes for new people coming in who've never done this?
Absolutely. And I think being a male therapist, it adds another level of tension and stress, especially if you're talking about, whether it's a male or female. I think most people would generally say when they think about getting a massage that, if they have the choice between a male or female therapist, that a female tends to be the one that most people gravitate to. Mm-hmm. But I think with that in mind, and I knew that right from the get-go of getting into this industry, that I was going to have to work extra hard to create a trusting and safe environment for my guests, whether they're familiar with massage work or not. One of the greatest benefits that I get from my work is when I do see somebody who they'll most times tell me before the session has started that this is either their first massage or the first time having a male therapist. Mm. And I cherish that. I mean, I honestly honor that person's openness in letting me know that, because if I just went through it and just assumed that they have had massage work before, I may never know. But that person may be on the table feeling anxious and really aware of the fact that this person's, looking at me and touching my body and I'm not comfortable with my body and here's a complete stranger. So having people be open about their experience, whether it's this is my first time getting a massage or first time with a male therapist or a female therapist, I think letting your therapist know as much information ahead of time. If that therapist is good, they're going to take that information and turn it into a positive for you. Because there's nothing worse than laying there and you're feeling tension. Mm-hmm. You're feeling stressed while you're getting a massage. To me, it's counterproductive. So yeah. I think that because what we do is using a lot of intuition and just energy that we feel from our guests. I mean, in most cases, I could feel somebody's tension. But what I do love more than anything is feeling them sink into the table. The breathing slows down. They've kind of let themselves go and feeling like I feel safe. I feel cared for. They're listening to my needs. their room is clean, they're professional, the way that, they carry themselves. There's so many elements that go into creating that trusting environment that I tell my therapist colleagues all the time, we are in a very powerful position, but also one that we need to create space that is open to everybody. And I think so much of what you're talking about is something that, as a therapist, whether you've told me or not, we should be able to pick up on that and make a positive experience out of it.
Those are really good tips. And I'm glad you mentioned them, because I was one that didn't want to tell, not my therapist, because I only have had 2 massages in my entire life. But before that, one of the things that freaked me out most is people touching my hair. I don't know what it is, but I couldn't get haircut for a long, long time, because even a friend cutting my hair would send me into a panic attack. So I would go to the hair cuttery, and a couple times the guy almost cut me with the scissor because I'm moving and jerking because I'm having stress. And I would lie and say, oh, I'm having asthma attack or something, or something that is completely not true, all because I didn't want to say I'm freaking out for no apparent reason.
But I think that people who maybe aren't aware of, I don't want to say their touch phobias, but kind of their hot spots, I guess you could say. Some people, my wife doesn't like having her feet touched. Oh. She's just very queasy about feet, even from myself. I mean, if her feet hurt, she'll kind of just bear with it and deal with it, because just the thought of someone touching her feet just freaks her out. So I think as long as, again, that's communicated, and if people are just, for whatever reason, like you said, something with your scalp, something with the head is just kind of a no-go zone, then, again, as much information to let that person know that. So this way you're not sitting there suffering through a scalp massage when you're just like, please do anything else but this right now.
Right.
So again, the best thing for your listeners, I think, is just to, if you have situations where you maybe have areas that just aren't pleasurable to be worked on, just let your therapist know that. And again, if they're good, they will adhere to that.
Yeah, I think it'll make it a much more enjoyable process for both of you, and not have them thinking, what am I doing wrong? And they can serve you better that way. Now I've gotten better at the hair touching thing, and I go to this one salon for years, so now they know that I'm nervous, so they have a whole bunch of books ready for me to look at while they do my hair. So take your mind off the fact that I'm touching your hair.
They've become prepared. They know she's coming. Here's what we need to do. Yep. Great.
Yeah, so that's great. Because I know we had talked before the interview, you had mentioned that you worked with a number of crisis groups to help them using massage as a therapy. How can massage be used to help people going through crisis or stress?
Well, one of the things that's great about massage is that I think when people think immediately about massage is it's hands on the body, full body, clothes off on the table. And that's not generally the case. I mean, there are so many different modalities that fall into the scope of massage that can really benefit people in all walks of life and different areas of whatever it is that they might be dealing with. And one area for me that's near and dear, well, there's quite a few that are near to me, but the ones that I have had specific work with is in domestic violence, victims of domestic violence and cancer. And I think what I have found is just through, and so much of this we spoke on, is establishing trust, establishing that, this is a caring space. I've had clients who I had no idea were involved in past domestic violence situations, that they come to me as a means to continue to cope with that those past experiences. But to them, to feel nurturing touch is part of their healing. And, again, they didn't let me know that. I've had clients I've seen for a couple of years who told me years after the fact of what had happened, and I had no idea. So I think there's just a good number of people out there who have, whether it's just personal situations that they've gone through or illnesses they're dealing with, that massage, and with the right person, can truly provide a healing space for them. Specifically with my cancer patients who are going through chemo right now, I've got 3 who I see on a regular basis. And they all tell me, they're all friends. They've all kind of networked with each other because they all know me. And I just hear it all the time where they say this is the 90 minutes of their week they look forward to the most. And to me, that's a gift, for them to, with everything they're going through and what their body's going through, to come in and just feel good for a little while.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be deep tissue work. It's not crazy massage work that, could disrupt things. I mean, sometimes it's just a nice, light, sorry, Christina, scalp massage, that just feels really good knowing what they like. So it varies. I think that there's so many different modalities that can be a positive healing part of what people are going through, whatever ailment that they have, that massage plays a huge role in that.
And why is it that touch plays such a crucial role in healing? What is it about touch in particular, you think?
I mean, everybody needs touch. I mean, to me, it's the one sense out of, the 5 major senses that we have that studies have shown that if we don't have regular positive touch, nourishing, fulfilling touch in our lives, that we die. I mean, we literally shrivel up and die. And I think that when another person is providing positive healing touch to another, whether it's through a sincere handshake or a hug or a 90-minute massage, to me, there really is no differentiating between the two, because touch is something that's felt immediately. It's felt throughout the body. There's chemical reactions that happen in the body through touch. And I think that it's the one sense that, in terms of, especially when someone's going through, I'm talking with people in different organizations, whether it's autistic kids or the elderly or addiction or depression, that just the presence of touch in their lives can play such a positive role in the coping of what it is they're going through. And it comes from love, it comes from care, and it comes from being in a centered, healthy, good place. So to me, touch is like, it's like oxygen. I think we can't do without it. And the more touch I think that people get, I think the better. We talked earlier about if we could all get a massage once a week, how much better the world would be if everyone would do that for themselves.
Yeah. And this brings to mind, I had an interview a couple of weeks ago of a gal that said that how important community is, that if you are totally left to your own devices and you're completely alone, how being alone is so disastrous to your health, your immune system, because the body needs that outside community. And I think that goes along with that touch. You actually need other human beings around you, not only to communicate with verbally, but to touch and to feel and to be around. And I think I even read that babies who don't get the proper amount of touch have a lot of developmental issues, and in some cases even can get very sick and die.
It's very true. I mean, there are so many research studies that show for newborns, when they first enter the world, the first sense that they have any sort of understanding is touch. Being held, being caressed, being loved. And when that is not present in their lives through developing, their bodies literally shrivel up and their inner organs don't develop properly. Their breathing is slowed. There's something about touch that, for infants, they understand that at such an early stage of their life that, with some of these studies, that what hospitals are doing now, especially with abandoned children or babies who don't have loved ones to care for them, is, and I just find this just to be brilliant, is bringing folks from retirement homes who also are going through maybe a touch deficiency because they're alone and their families are elsewhere, or they don't have anyone else around them, that they will actually bus the elderly to a hospital, a children's ward, and all they do for, hours on end is hold babies. So it's nourishing touch for both, and the babies suddenly become healthier, they're eating more, they're developing more, and obviously in the elderly, it provides them that touch of, holding an infant that brings back memories of, when it was their child, and people in their family, and just they feel fulfilled. So to me, that's like it's bringing two touch needy demographics together to create an amazing result. So to me, that's one that I just think of as far as touch and its benefits.
I think that's why I heard also having pets for the elderly have worked so well as well, because they are able to connect with another life form. Just,
Exactly.
Pet them and nurture them.
It's absolutely proven that pets are such a huge touch therapy for, again, all these groups. I've read studies from addiction centers where they will bring in puppies to help people suffering from whether it's drug addiction or alcohol addiction to connect to, maybe they have difficulties just connecting with a human. So they'll bring in puppies or kittens for them to have to hold and to take care of and to take responsibility of. But, obviously the pet, these are pets that maybe come from a shelter who are just thrown in a box, or, they're surrounded by other little dogs and cats that they need that touch too. So again, a perfect example of taking two elements that both need it and doing something good with it. And it's touch related.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, I grew up with a dog, and he was my shadow growing up. He was always around me. We were best buddies. But I remember during our initial conversation, you also mentioned how important touch could be to other therapies. Like you had mentioned a wonderful story about a couple going through couples therapy and how touch helped them on their journey to healing. Tell the audience about that.
Sure. So, I think that anyone who understands the difficulties of going through a divorce or counseling, whether it's marriage counseling or couples counseling, can understand that regardless of whatever the circumstances are, that it's just a tense situation. And the story that I had heard about was a couple who there was abuse. I think it was mostly verbal abuse, but I think there was some physical abuse from obviously the male to the female. But they were wanting to work through it. But it was a very contentious situation where they would go in and there would just be a lot of back and forth with the counselor. They would sit in chairs far apart from each other, and it would just turn into a shouting match. And it was more of the counselor, the therapist, being like a referee between the two and really not getting anywhere. And it was literally, I think, at the beginning of this year or latter part of last year when I must have been the holidays, I guess, that maybe brought them closer together and realizing that we're just going in circles with this and we're not getting anywhere. They made a conscious decision that when they entered the room, they were going to hold hands. And when they got into the room, they would bring their chairs close together and they would hold hands throughout their therapy sessions. And immediately, the tension disappeared. They would look each other in the eye. There would be no he said, she said. It would all be, it was like truth serum. Because before, the man would say things and she would sit there shaking her head like, that's not true, and vice versa. It honestly brought out the real story between the two. And I think by keeping that close contact, by holding hands throughout their session, it helped them keep it real. Because you can't hide. I mean, you can tell lies, but it's hard to tell a lie while you're holding somebody's hand. It's kind of like a lie detector test, I guess you could say.
Wow.
So to me, that was just amazing. How just the simple act of holding hands is helping them and their marriage through this difficult time.
Wow. Because you think about it, when you're fighting or saying not nice things about each other, you're generally, there's this clear separation between you two. And it actually happens physically as well as spiritually and psychologically. And I think that connection of touch makes it so that the barriers are down and you're now connected. And it's hard to scream and holler at someone when you're holding their hand.
It's extremely hard. I mean, whether you want to or not, I think keeping that bond there enables you to, think clearly, look the person in the eye. I think she even said that we had forgotten what it felt like to actually touch each other in a positive way. And, that in and of itself, opened up so many possibilities of, we don't need this tension. We don't need this anger. This feels good. why can't we have this all the time? And I think that it was just more of an awakening, a simple matter of just holding hands to bring that to light.
So tell me more about what you have planned for your business, because you had some really awesome plans coming up.
Well, everything is just kind of getting started. I've been doing massage now for a little over 15 years, and like I said, I absolutely love it. I've got a full clientele. I love being busy. I love what I do. But I feel there's more in me. I feel like with my work experience and just my life experiences of doing what I do, that I want to share that in a way that benefits others. So what I've come up with is something that I'm calling Touch for Life. And Touch for Life to me right now is a three-phase project. And currently I'm working on phase 1, which is a book. So I'm writing a book that really gets to the heart of everything we're talking about here. Why touch is essential, how we kind of have lost touch with touch, I guess, as a society. Because when I talk to my clients even about it, who've been coming to me for a long time, it's hard for them to kind of sit and think about how touch affects them throughout their day. I mean, obviously they know how it affects them when they're here in my office, but outside of it, with their families, with coworkers, with friends, it's like, I never really thought about how I'm using touch throughout the day. So I want to bring that to light. And how I'm doing that is in the first chapter, I'm titling Touch Points. And it's really laying a foundation of touch and how, as a society, it truly is like oxygen. It's something that we need. It's something that without it is really hindering ourselves and our development and just getting through the day. But then what I want to do with the further chapters is focus on 12 initiatives. And again, these are subjects that, or these are demographics that I have a special place in my heart for, that I want to create a link between them and touch. So I'll have a chapter on domestic violence, a chapter on cancer, HIV, AIDS, addiction, autism, so on and so forth. But the first initiative starts with newborns and babies that we just touched on, and it ends with hospice and end of life. So really the book is going to kind of start from when you enter the world to when you leave the world and how touch plays a part in it. So it's really going to be written in the sense where I want to utilize case studies, research articles to create a bridge between touch and these initiatives. And put it in a cohesive book where people could read and they can skip to a chapter that really, is important to them. It could be somebody who's dealing with cancer, and I want to read about, how cancer and touch can be paired up in the coping process, the healing process, and so forth. So to me, phase 1 is the book of Touch for Life. Phase 2 is then taking the book out and speaking about it. So what I really love to do, as you obviously can tell, is I love to talk.
Well, I'll have to have you back to share the new book when it's out.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. I want to then conduct, whether they're seminars or panel discussions on these specific demographic groups with experts in those fields. So it could be physicians who are working with cancer patients or HIV patients, or it could be, people who work in retirement homes with the elderly, and holding discussions that center around touch and that group. And I see that being something that's interactive, and I want people to walk away from it feeling like they have an arsenal of information that's going to help them in that initiative and how to go forward in making things positive, utilizing touch. And then the third one is something a little bit more down the road, but I'd love to create a Touch for Life Foundation, where basically the goal of that is to support anyone who wants to get into a line of work where you're utilizing touch to help others. So that could be massage therapy, it could be being a doctor, a physician, it could be a veterinarian, it could be social worker, really anything that's touch related that's going to help benefit the planet. That's what that foundation is all about, supporting. So the entire project I'm titling the Touch for Life Global Initiative, because I see it as being something that extends beyond my scope here, and it's something that I'd love to get partnered with people from all over the world.
It's going to take a community to make
really take a community, everyone kind of get behind it, and we're going to explore different avenues of how touch is used within these initiatives. And Obviously, there's plenty of other initiatives out there that could benefit beyond the 12 that I'm focusing.
Absolutely.
But to me, it's a start.
And how can folks out there listening in, I'm really excited about what we're talking about today. I want to be behind what Gregg is doing. How do they get in touch with you, find out more?
Well, like I said, I'm just in the beginning stages of it, so I don't even have a webpage up at the moment. But if people would like to reach out to me, my webpage for my business is dosmanosmassage.com, and that's dos manos, like two hands in Spanish. And really, what I love more than anything is for people to reach out and just share with me your feelings, your experiences with touch, because all of that to me is inspiring me to do what I'm going to do. And if there is anyone out there who has an initiative that they care about, that they have utilized touch or have seen touch at work, I would love to hear about it. So right now, the simplest way is just to reach out, send me an email. My contact information is on my webpage, and I'd love to hear from people.
Well, that's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming out here and sharing your wisdom and gifts in this area. It's very important. I think we don't give it enough attention in our society, how important touch is. So thank you again, Gregg, for coming to Savvy Central Radio.
Well, I so appreciate the time, Christina. Thank you so much.
Join our mailing list today by texting Savvy Radio to find out about upcoming guests and events and receive a free gift, how podcasting can help increase sales and influence in your business.
Savvy Central Radio is home to over 100,000 listeners per month globally and runs in syndication on 8 AM and FM platforms, including iHeartRadio and 6 podcasting platforms. To find out more about our paid sponsorship opportunities or to become a guest and find out how we can help you get your message out to the world, call 718 area code 713-2289 or email at savvycentralradio@gmail.com.